Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Here is another lecture of MS course of physics major, and the course name is Semiconductor Electronic Devices. In the semiconductor electronic devices, we are studying the fabrication of p-n junction. Yesterday we have seen that what is p-n junction, how it is forward biased, and how it is reverse biased. As well as we have seen that the prerequisite for every device is that on the top of the silicon substrate there must be a silicon dioxide layer. Yesterday we have just seen that we have deposited the silicon dioxide layer with the help of thermal oxidation, which has got many disadvantages. Its first advantage is that the silicon of substrate is converted to silicon dioxide. That is, this is achieved on the basis of the silicon used from the substrate, as well as the higher temperature is required. So they will search for other fabrication technique in which we can deposit silicon dioxide without having high temperature, as well as without compromising loss of some silicon from the substrate. So the one method which we discussed yesterday was the CVD, that is chemical vapor deposition, which has got certain advantages. Number one is that it is worked at low temperature as compared to thermal oxidation. Number two, as we work in the low pressure, we apply with the help of the pump, we reduce the pressure, which increase the mean free path and contamination free silicon dioxide layer is deposited on silicon. We cannot only deposit silicon dioxide in this way, but many other films can be deposited on silicon with the help of this deposition route. Today I will discuss another important IC fabrication route for which low temperature is required as compared to thermal oxidation, is the diffusion process. Now here you can see that p-n junction is has been shown, and it can be clearly seen that there is direction of the electron drift, then electron diffusion, then hole diffusion and hole drift. You can see from here that electron and hole drift in opposite direction. And as well as in between the p and n region, we have got a depletion region. And yesterday we have discussed that how depletion region is produced. So p-n junctions are created by several processes. Yesterday I have discussed that is the CVD. Now a few more methods are given, that is diffusion, ion implantation, epitaxial deposition, and these we will discuss in detail in our coming lectures. And each process results in different doping profiles. Here you can see in this graph, this is the acceptor ions which are diffused. You can see here there were highest concentration of acceptor ions, and they are moving and until they are diffused along the length of the bar. Here you can see here p-n junction. So holes are moving from the p-type side to the n-type side, while this is the donor level, the donor original level. Now if you can see from here, this portion present the donor level minus the acceptor level. Okay students, How diffusion process is achieved? Before we discuss these figures, we will see that how the diffusion process is achieved. So what will happen? Initially, we will take the silicon wafers, then we will oxidize the wafer, and windows are opened in the oxide layer by using the photolithography and etching steps. My dear students, I will discuss this photolithography and etching step in detail in my coming lectures. Now, basically, dopant can be trivalent or pentavalent depending upon you require p-type material or n-type material. So, dopants such as boron, phosphorus, and arsenic are introduced in these patterned wafers at a high temperature, that is 800 to 1100 degrees C. So this is the thermal process used extensively used for the fabrication of IC fabrication. So you apply 800 to 11,000 degrees C temperature diffusion furnace, generally using a gas or vapor source, and you will use the same horizontal furnace. Yesterday we have discussed two type of furnace, the horizontal furnace and vertical furnace. So you will use the furnace here, same furnace which you have used for the thermal oxidation. But difference is that where in the thermal oxidation you have just deposited silicon dioxide layer on the top of silicon. But now what you want to pattern window and dope the semiconductor material with impurities, boron, arsenic, or whatever you want to use. That so basically what will happen, you will introduce these impurities into these patterned wafers at a high temperature diffusion furnace, generally using a gas or vapor source. The dopants are gradually transported from the high concentration region near the surface onto substrate through the diffusion. Girls, this is the same diffusion which we have discussed in our semiconductor physics coursework, which we have studied in semester 1. So you know that two types of currents are moving, that one is drift current, other is diffusion current. And in the diffusion current and drift current, again there are two subdivisions. That is, one drift current is due to electron, one drift current is due to hole. Similar go with the diffusion current. And here the maximum number of impurities that can be dissolved in silicon depends upon the what is the kind of impurity and what will be time it will take to diffuse inside semiconductor material. Thus you can see appendix 7 of this book, BG Streetman, to know about the various impurities if you are interested to know. The diffusivity of dopant solid D has a strong Arrhenius dependence on temperature T. It is given as D is equal to D naught exponential minus EA over K. That is D is equal to D naught and exponential minus EA, where EA is the activation energy. EA divided by KT. So here D naught is a constant depending upon the material and the dopant, and EA is the activation energy. Now the average distance that the dopant diffuses is related to diffusion length. And girls, you must have remembered that we have defined it as the thermal budget by this formula. This is known as the thermal budget, where T is the processing time. The Arrhenius dependence of diffusivity on temperature explains why high temperature are required for diffusion. Otherwise, the diffusibility are far too low. Since D varies exponentially with T, it is critical to have very precise control over the furnace temperature within several degrees in order to have control over diffusion profiles. The dopants are effectively blocked or masked by oxide because their diffusivity in oxide is very low. Diffusivity with profile control and with high temperature requirement has led to diffusion being supplanted by ion implantation as a doping technique. The trend of using larger silicon wafer has changed many semiconductor steps. For example, large wafer and 8-inch wafer are best handled in vertical furnace rather than the traditional horizontal furnace, and this same we have discussed in thermal oxidation lecture. Although large wafers are handled individually for a variety of deposition, etching and implantation process, such single wafer processing has led to development of robotic system for fast and accurate wafer handling. My dear students, the distribution of impurities in a sample at any time during diffusion can be calculated from a solution of diffusion equation with appropriate boundary condition. If the source of dopant atom at the surface sample is limited, for example, a given number of atoms deposited on silicon surface before diffusion, a Gaussian distribution is obtained. On the other hand, if the dopant atoms are supplied continuously such that the concentration surface is maintained at a constant level, the diffusion follows, which is called a complementary error. Now, if you look at figure 1.2, 5.2, here you can say there is a point. Here is a point at which introduce acceptor concentration just equal to the background donor concentration in the originally n-type sample. The point is the location of p-n junction. To left of this point, to the left of this point, to the left of this point, acceptor atoms predominate and material is p-type, whereas to right side the donor atoms are predominant and the material is n-type. The depth of junction beneath the surface sample can be controlled by the time and temperature of the diffusion. Now here in this figure you can see that we have got logarithmic scale here on the y-axis. X is the how your charge carriers are moving, and similarly here you have the number of electrons per unit volume. Yeah, number of donor or acceptor atoms per unit volume. Now here you can see that as diffusion will take place, you can see that there is decrease of acceptor atoms with the distance. Now this is the basically figure which show us a wafer here. This is a wafer with peak substrate. Here epitaxial layer is grown. On top there is silicon dioxide, and here the window is created, and here no diffusion has take place. But when the diffusion take place, then you can see here there is the n dopant present, and on the top of there is silicon dioxide, and in between these dopants there are p isolation present, and this is the electrically equivalent circuit. So diffused junction diode, what will happen? The process starts with the formation of layer of an acceptor impurity on the n-type substrate and heating the two until the impurity diffuses into substrate to form the p-type layer. A large chunk p-n junction divided into parts by cutting process. Metallic contacts are made after connecting anode and cathode leads. This is the horizontal furnace which we have discussed yesterday. In this horizontal furnace, wafers are placed in tube during diffusion and impurity atoms are introduced into the gas which flows through silica tube. Common impurity source materials for diffusion in silicon are boron oxide, boron bromide, boron chloride for boron, phosphorus sources such as phosphorus hydride, phosphorus oxide, phosphorus oxide chloride. Solid sources are placed in the silica tube upstream for sample or in a separate heating zone of the furnace. Gaseous sources can be metered directly into gas flow system, and with liquid sources inert gas carrier is bubbled through liquid before being introduced in the furnace tube. The silicon wafers are held in silica board which can be pushed into position furnace and can be removed by the silica rod. There is a silica rod with the help of which you can push the wafer holder inside that, and there is a handle with the help of which you can bring that wafer outside from this furnace. It is important to remember the degree of cleanliness required in these processing steps. Since typical doping concentration represent 1 part per million or less, cleanliness and impurity is critically important. So you always clean your push rod, your wafer holder, your wafer with the help of hydrofluoric acid before just putting it inside the furnace. And finally, the silicon wafer themselves must undergo an elaborating cleaning procedure before diffusion, including a final etching uh, containing HF to remove the unwanted silicon dioxide. So in this way, we can get the pure diffusion process going on. Now girl, this is end of our today's lecture. You must have got the information of the vertical furnace and the horizontal furnace. I wish that you must find more on the internet about these two, and at least write differences between these two, 2 or 3 or 4 differences, maximum 4 differences, that what are the difference between two furnace and what is difference in their handling. Thanks for your concentration.